Hello and welcome. This is another episode of the Cosmic Weather Report. Bella and I will be looking at the transits for today, for tomorrow, up until Sunday. We usually come live about 3 times a week, usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to be updating you with what's activated and alive in the Astros. And you are going to hopefully over time start to understand what it means when something is in transit. If you keep watching this, you're going to start to pick up on the language. You're going to start to understand how to read it and then how to apply it to your life, and also feeling into what's available and potential for you. What are the availabilities? What are the potentialities here? And then with that, you also get to resource some of that empowerment. And with us having the 59 activated by the sun and the 55, which is the game changer by the earth, what some of the challenges could be feeling like the victim of something, some kind of circumstance or external circumstances or the astrology or the weather. I know that there's a lot of intense stuff happening right now. So if you're feeling it in your body, just know that it's also the collective. It's also the cosmos. It's also a lot of stuff going retrograde. It's a lot of transitions happening. So you might be feeling stuff or maybe having headaches. Bella's going to pull up the genetic matrix chart, and that's what we look at for the transits.
Here, what you see is everything. But when we look at the transit, we don't really look at 3 months ago what happened. So we changed it from quantum to only personality. This is right now. We have those 3 motors defined, and I think we all can feel this emotional definition that we have since yesterday. So that's shaking us up, asking us how happy we are with intimacy in our lives more than anything. That's the channel of mating. It goes from the shadow of dishonesty to the city of transparency through the pathway of intimacy.
Today, just allow yourself to get honest, first and foremost, with you. And if you're finding yourself feeling some kind of emotional content coming up, give yourself permission to sit with it, be with it, go there, and see maybe what's underneath the surface, see if there's any meaning attached to it. And I think that with this being in the second line, the worst thing we can do is deny this realm or to pretend like we're not feeling anything, or even say that, oh, it's just the collective, or it's just this, or it's just that. There are things that are for us that we can recognize, and allow yourself to give yourself a little bit of empowerment, encouragement. And if you are finding yourself feeling unworthy, how can you reframe it to feel worthy? If you're feeling yourself feeling left out, how can you include yourself? What are some things that you can do to help you shift yourself and not feel like a victim to other people or circumstances or whatnot? How can you take responsibility into your hands and not feel like you need to defer authority or power or something to someone else, because that sense of powerlessness is not going to serve you? Bella was mentioning before we hopped on here that we're currently in the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is the cross that as a collective we are shifting into in 2027. So we're getting a little bit of taste of what the theme or the program is going to be moving forward for the next hundreds of years. We're shifting out of the cross of planning to the cross of sleeping phoenix. What might be important for them to know so that we don't have to go into everything about this prophecy and the sleeping phoenix? What's important now?
That we cannot pretend things to be perfect right now. There are a lot of planets that are retrograde. And then in the cross of the sleeping phoenix, we have the 59, the 55, the 34, and the 20. And we also have the moon in the 34 right now, making that cross even stronger. It's going to be a lot of upheaval. Things are not going to turn out exactly the way we want. It doesn't mean that they are going to be wrong, but it's not going to be exactly the way we expect. You can see here in this chart as well at astrology that there's some tensions that are happening. So we have the moon that is in square to the sun and to Saturn, and then the sun and Saturn are opposing each other. And then we have a harmonic aspect between Mars and Pluto right now. So a word that I see a couple of times is limitation. Gate 6, that's limitation. And then Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, it's also limitations. So I feel like we can have a bit of that wanting to do something, wanting it to work, wanting to move forward, but feeling that there is a limitation. We can't do it the way that we thought it was going to be done. We need to have a little bit of flexibility on how things are really going to get done. Today we're in a 2-4 day, and the main word there is flow. So how can we find some flow? Because look here at this opposition as well, where we have Mars in gate 6, the gate of conflict, opposing Neptune in gate 36, which is turbulence and the storms. Having Mars here in Virgo, wanting things to work out. But a lot of things right now are not happening the way we want. So the best way we can do is to find the flow and take things as they come and not feeling victimized by the things that happen. Let's use some of this time to follow Venus here in her retrograde in Leo and see what is valuable, what's good and what's not good in our intimate relationships, what needs to shift. So maybe turn inward a little bit more.
Yeah. And then what else is coming too for this weekend or as we move forward into these next days?
We're going to be in the cross of the sleeping phoenix all the way until Sunday, actually, where we move into the cross of spirit. And I'm going to show you the quantum here again. So you see, if we were in 59 and 55 with 34 and 20, here we're going into 16 and 9. It's going to be a bit of a different energy. We're going to be in a 5-1 day on Sunday. So going from these more personal line days into a little bit more of like leadership and bigger perspective on Sunday, we're going to have a Capricorn moon. It's not necessarily a moon that wants to be emotional. It's home here in Cancer on the other side. So it's almost like we can't afford for these few days that come to be too sensitive emotionally, because Sagittarius wants optimism, wants expansion, and Capricorn is like, we don't have time with emotions. So how can you relate to your emotion in constructive ways the coming days, knowing that we are in this cross that is very powerful with the 59 and the 55 and very emotional, but at the same time there seemed to be not super much support for a lot of emotionality, but it's going to be a lot of emotionality also with the 636 activated. We have Mars moving from Virgo to Libra, and he's in detriment in Libra. He likes to be in Aries and move forward and do the thing and act. And now he's going to be in Libra, feeling like he has to weigh everything. So that's also something that can stop us. We want to act fast. We want to get it done. But as Mars is going into Libra, and the last thing I'm going to say about that, Mars is going to be together with the South Node in a while. And that can be challenging for us when we have Mars and the South Node in 32, where Mars is not happy, he can't really act, and then we're shadowed with the fear of failure. Like, how is that going to feel? So just to say, don't break down. I think that the next few weeks are not super easy when it comes to the astrological way of understanding our reality. However, with that knowing and acceptance of it, maybe you don't have to break down. Maybe you just have to be as constructive as you can and move in the world in your relationship as your true self, as all this is happening on the outside.
Being authentic and true to you is going to also ask of you to create spaces so that you can move through whatever it is that you need to. If you feel like the relationships, the world at large, like people, your work situation, certain things don't have quite a bit of room for that emotionality, take some time for yourself, put on some music, move it through, dance it through, speak it through, like breathe it through, bring in breath work, give yourself some kind of structure to move through and process these emotions. It's not about bypassing them or going straight to optimism or work mode. It's about how can you efficiently and effectively move through these practically so that you can put into these other spaces and places that require your optimism and your work ethic and your structure. So giving yourself a place and time to move through it, whether it be in the shower, whether it be waking up early to do this, just allowing yourself to include it, but no, that's not our focus.
Yes, knowing that the energy is going to change after this week, we're going to start Monday with a reflector chart because the 360 between the root and the sacral is not going to be activated anymore because the nodes are changing. So a lot of changes, even the nodes. So the collective trajectory for humanity is changing. It's going from gate 3 to gate 42. It's up to you how you are going to adapt to those changing energies that are coming in.
So good luck and have a great weekend. And I hope that you have moments where you can feel that intimacy and connectedness with yourself and offer that to other people. And if that is something that is an issue for you, I hope that this weekend brings you opportunities to create more intimacy, to speak about these things so that you can work through it, because there's a lot of great potential here. So don't leave things left unsaid. Be honest and bring it to the table.
If you need some grounding, we're doing the Purpose Masterclass on Tuesday, so you can join for that. Feeling into Design Earth and kind of our twist on how to do that.
Yeah, let's bring in some core stability so that those emotional waters don't wash you away, especially when there's not a lot of supportive energy in the cosmos structuring it and giving these times to put your focus there. So, yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you next week. And happy weekend.
Bye.
Bye.